Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Edge Hill. My name is Clive Edwards. I'm Pro-Chancellor and Chair of the Governors at this university. It's a great pleasure now to declare that this ceremony for the conferment of degrees is open.
Pro-Chancellor, Vice-Chancellor, colleagues, family, friends, and of course, graduands, welcome. My name is Linda Brady, and it is my very great privilege to deliver this opening address to celebrate the achievements of you, our graduands, who have studied for qualifications in English, history, and creative writing, and practitioners who have studied postgraduate programmes in education. I'm also delighted to offer congratulations to David Yates, who will be awarded an honorary doctorate at today's ceremony. In recognition of David's presence today, I have concealed a single quote in my opening address from Harry Potter, and the first person to quote it to me outside gets a prize. Not you, I'm afraid, David. So I can't believe I've had to bribe you to listen, but if that's what it takes, and I hope I won't be drinking it myself. Okay, the staff of the university, this is our favourite week of the year, a week when we can bask in your glory, share in your pride, and celebrate your success. We're lucky, as this is the 13th of 14 ceremonies we will attend this week. For all of you and all of your family and friends, it's likely to be more of a once or possibly twice in a lifetime event, and all the more special for that. Looking at you all now, you are glowing, resplendent with a combination of pride and a little perspiration, quite a lot of fake tan, admittedly, and that is as it should be. And we know there's an awful lot going on the inside. One of my favourite things to do during graduation week is to just walk across campus, picking up snippets of conversation that graduates are having with their proud supporters. And given that you, our graduands, soon to be graduates, are some of the most highly educated minds in the country, you might expect the conversations to be dominated by debates about Brexit, the likely outcome of trade negotiations, or whether, on any given day, Trump believes that the Russians did or did not interfere with the 2016 US presidential election. But you'll possibly be unsurprised to hear that the topic which dominates most conversations around ceremonies, for men and women, relates to shoes. Mainly the need to take them off, and often the realisation, just too late, that perhaps the chosen shoes should not have been risked. Actually, they really should have been risked today of all days. You will not trip coming down the stairs or crossing the red carpet. And apologies if this thought had not previously been in your mind. Today, shoes or whatever trivia occupies you matters much more than Brexit or the many great global issues which we face but cannot control. Today, it is absolutely right that you should live in this moment and consciously soak up every bit of joy that this is about. It is undoubtedly the case that as you move to the next exciting part of life's journey, there will be challenges and obstacles. And I hope that you can draw on the happiness, confidence, and pride that you should rightly feel today in what you have achieved. We know that coming to university can and should be transformational, even if at the start you didn't feel in need of transformation. It is inescapable, not only that you will have developed your knowledge and skills in your subject area, you will have created friendships which will last a lifetime, and you will have changed in ways that you perhaps now take for granted. You'll be more confident, more inquiring, more tolerant of opposing views. We hope that you will be taking with you a mindset that encourages you to think positively and believe there is a world of possibility open to you. Those to my right may refer to you as being more opinionated and a bit of a know-all. It's all a matter of interpretation. And all of the things you take with you as a graduate are hard-earned. Despite appearances at times, being a student is not easy. It requires dedication, commitment, and sacrifice. And the sacrifices are not just yours, but the sacrifices of your family and friends who have supported you along the way. So as you graduate today, you will also doubtless be reflecting and appreciating the support, practical, emotional, or most certainly financial, that your family and friends have provided to you. So as you move on, how will you choose to use this knowledge, these skills, and this positive attitude? Because in the end, it is our choices that show what we truly are, far more than our abilities. At this point, I'm supposed to point to some famous individuals or events which make you want to take on the world. And in looking for inspiration, a quick internet search reveals that on this day, the 20th of July 1969, the first moon landing took place when Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin took one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind. But whilst I'll happily encourage you to reach for the stars, I draw a line at suggesting a trip to the moon just to prove a point. So I wanted something a little closer to home. Much to the amusement and occasional frustration of my colleagues, I'm what I like to call a just-in-time person, working to deadlines. Others call me last minute, although recently the Vice-Chancellor generously referred to this behaviour as efficiency maximising, and who am I to disabuse him? If you're like me, and you look enviously at your organised friends who always had their assignments completed with days to go and were always well ahead with their revision, and have probably got their Christmas presents wrapped as we speak, you will know how it feels, and sometimes it's not the most comfortable place to be. But whilst I wouldn't wish to encourage this approach, just very occasionally it does pay off. So I was delighted when a couple of days ago, admittedly not yet having prepared this opening address, a wonderful colleague casually said to me, "I thought you'd be interested in this." I have props. I think they've gone for overkill on the historical documents because they are in plastic, but they provided white gloves, which I don't think I also need to wear. Okay, the this in question, which you won't be able to see the detail of, are 3 small index cards. And these are the student records of 3 former Edge Hill students, individuals who over 100 years ago sat in your shoes. There are those shoes again. The first card, here, relates to Margaret Ames from Greenbank Road, Sefton Park. I'm sure the General Data Protection Regulations prohibit the disclosure of this information, by the way, so just between us. So Greenbank Road, Sefton Park, and whilst I don't know what became of Margaret Ames, she's very important in the history of Edge Hill University because she is the first ever recorded student. This is the first ever student record in 1885. The second one relates to a woman called Ethel Anakin. And Ethel Anakin studied here between 1900 and 1902. Her address on the record is recorded as 11 Downing Street, London, because in 1905 she became Viscountess Snowdon, having married the prominent Labour politician and future Chancellor of the Exchequer, Philip Snowdon. While she was training to teach at Edge Hill, she attended a speech by a radical preacher, Reverend Dr. Akid, and after listening to his sermon, "Can a man be a Christian on £1 a week?" the answer presumably being no, she became a committed socialist, human rights activist, and feminist politician. She was one of the leading campaigners for women's suffrage, and she founded the Women's Peace Crusade to oppose the First World War. She was appointed a governor of the newly established BBC in 1926 as a representative of women and Labour. A mark of the woman, she argued with Sir John Reith at the first meeting and continued to do so for the next 5 years. In her forward-thinking book, The Woman Socialist, published in 1907, she called for joint title for women to the housekeeping money and a state salary for mothers. Depending on your preferences, perhaps more on the downside, she was a strong advocate of teetotalism and declared that under socialism, women would have, quote, no need to paint face or tint hair, which would almost certainly have made me a recluse in a socialist regime. By all accounts, she was an extremely powerful, and influential social reformer, a controversial speaker, and a passionate campaigner. Although it is also said of her that tact and diplomacy were foreign to her nature, so don't follow that bit. And in 1902, she was, metaphorically at least, sitting where you sit today, a young woman graduating with the world at her feet, ready to make a difference. You may think that she was a one-off, and of course the causes that she chose and the way in which she pursued them were unique to her. But lest you're thinking you could never have such an impact, we come to the third card. The third card belongs to a student named Helena Normanton. Helena Normanton graduated from Edge Hill in 1905. So what became of Helena Normanton? The first woman to practice as a barrister in England, the first woman to obtain a divorce for her client, the first woman to lead a trial for murder, the first woman to conduct a trial at the Old Bailey, and in 1949, along with Rose Heilbronn, one of the first two women to be made King's Counsel at the English Bar. A huge list of firsts for a woman who was preeminent in her chosen profession, which hitherto had been exclusively a man's world. It's all the more impressive when you look at her record that she was able to reach these heady heights, when as part of her teaching qualification, the record reveals that she only managed to score 36% in needlework. Not quite perfect then. Helena Normanton was also a passionate campaigner for women's rights and women's suffrage. It's little wonder the campaign succeeded with such support, and that of many men too, of course. It's fitting that we acknowledge their triumph in this year that marks the 100th anniversary of some women getting the vote, and that in doing so, we wear the gowns that mirror the colours of the suffragette movement. Although whilst their colours were green, white and purple, we switched the white, which stood for purity, to gold, which stands for enlightenment. And I doubt that Ethel or Helena would have objected to that. Whilst there is still some way to go, it is now difficult to imagine a Britain where women did not have the vote and where there was such huge gender inequality. Of course, today, inequalities do persist, perhaps more pronounced along other lines, particularly class lines, where we see such huge inequality in wealth. There are therefore a myriad of causes and ways in which you can still make a difference, whatever your gender. You don't all have to change the world. You can make a real difference just by enhancing the lives of those around you, your family, your friends, your colleagues, by acting as a role model to others, or by being active in your local community. Know that whatever you choose to do, as you graduate today, you are in a position of relative privilege. Your education equips you with the power to make a difference and gives you one of life's greatest gifts, the liberty of choice. But as Esmond Burke said, the effect of liberty to individuals is that they may do what they please. We ought to see what it will please them to do before we risk congratulations. I am confident that I can risk my congratulations today. Whilst the world may seem pretty challenging at the moment, the good news is that this is just the present. The future does not yet exist. It is yours for the taking and for the making. Take inspiration from those Edge Hill graduates who have gone before you and go into the world and do well. But more importantly, go into the world and do good. Be happy, healthy, and live a full life. First of all, enjoy today. Congratulations.
Vice-Chancellor. David Yates was told at film school that he was too nice to work in the film industry. Scripts that he was told would never make it to the screen led to awards. And it would take the length of this citation and more to list the awards and accolades that he's received in less than 30 years. He's worked with some of the most well-known and lauded actors of our time, as well as nurturing the talents of many younger performers at the start of their careers. Drawn to material that explores prejudice, exploitation, neglect, and greed, he's the teller of stories that make us question the world around us. Whether exposing the horror of human suffering in the sex industry, as found in the TV drama Sex Traffic, or guiding the later Harry Potter film adaptations into darker territory where extremism, loss, and monstrosity take their full form, each time he tells us stories that make us think, stories that matter. David was born on the 8th of October 1963 in Rainhill, now part of St Helens, Merseyside, around 10 miles away from where we are today. Inspired by Steven Spielberg's Jaws, and in possession of a Super 8mm camera given to him by his mother, David drew upon the talents of friends and family to make his own short films through his teenage years. From the start, he identified himself as a director. His ambition remained with him, and he carried on writing, directing, and producing his own films through his undergraduate years, studying government and politics. From 1989 to 1991, he studied at the National Film and Television School, who, almost 20 years later, granted him an honorary fellowship for outstanding contribution to the British film and television industry in 2010. One can trace a series of turning points in David's career, moments when the media industries and their public celebrations sat up and took notice. His first public accolades came in the form of awards on the film festival circuit for his short film When I Was a Girl in 1991, a touching tale of parental neglect. He gathered significant experience and respect during the 1990s, working in television fiction and documentary, not least several episodes of the dearly loved ITV series The Bill. David was able to embark on his first feature film in 1998, The Tichborne Claimant, a period drama based on a series of events in the late 19th century, featuring Stephen Fry, John Gielgud, and the remarkable John Caney. It showed signs of the matters that have gone on to weave through his creative work, the capacity for both corruption and compassion amongst human beings. If you look closely too, you'll see many Liverpool locations in the film, including the Bluecoat School building standing in for Tichborne House. As the 21st century began, so did a period of intense work on both film and television projects, rather too many to list and describe here, often alternating between small and large budgets. In the space of just 2 years, for example, he worked on a big-budget literary adaptation with household name actors in Anthony Trollope's The Way We Live Now in 2001, followed by a short film shot in Glasgow with non-actors, the BAFTA Award-nominated Rank in 2002. The next 2 years brought him a wealth of awards for 2 significant television projects. The political thriller State of Play, starring David Morrissey alongside John Sim and Bill Nighy, went on to be voted number 9 in The Guardian's top 50 television dramas of all time. Sex Traffic, again starring John Sim, went on to win the BAFTA Award for Best Drama Serial in 2005. Both realist in tone and creatively expressive, David's dramas are unique and gripping. Sobering, often shocking, it was clear that David's talents include a desire to challenge us to face the Britain that we live in today. Perhaps that is why so few of us expected the next turning point in David's career. When David was informed by his agent that he had been selected to direct the 5th film in the Harry Potter series, Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix, he was just as surprised as the fans and the critics. Yet in some ways, as the stories took on a far more political and adult tone, who better to ensure a consistency and coherency to the Potter story as it followed a trajectory towards its end? The earlier installments from directors Chris Columbus, Alfonso Cuarón, and Mike Newell comprise a landmark in recreating J.K. Rowling's strange, magical world, so unlike our own. David's final 4 installments in the series mark a different achievement. They create a magical world so very similar to our own. Certainly in the later films, we see far more of the Britain with which we are familiar. But more than that, we recognise the suffering dealt out by bullies, the dangerous path of integrity, and the strength that comes from sharing a common undertaking. The success of Order of the Phoenix, both critically and commercially, was remarkable. with it taking the 45th spot in the list of the highest grossing films of all time. It was followed in fast succession by the remaining instalments in the series, Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince in 2009, and Rowling's final book, Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows, presented in 2 parts in 2010 and 2011. The final film is currently the 10th highest grossing film of all time. 2011 stands out as another one of those turning points in David's career. He was honoured for his work on the Potter series with BAFTA's John Schlesinger Britannia Award for Excellence in Directing. In the same year, and along with the cast and crew members from all 8 films, the Potter series was awarded the Michael Balcon Award for Outstanding British Contribution to Cinema. Other big-budget features have followed, including Legend of Tarzan, and 2 films telling further tales from the Potter universe, Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them in 2016, and Fantastic Beasts: The Crimes of Grindelwald to be released later this year, with more planned in the years to come. David has said that it's never easy to direct. It's only fun because it's hard. He says that directing is about bringing the best out of people, although when success comes, he's the last person to take the credit and is quick to praise the skills and talents of the teams with whom he's worked. His generosity, however, hides a man with clear ambition and conviction. Of his earlier years, he has said, "I didn't wait for someone to give me a job, you just do it." The Potter fans amongst us may recall Harry's words of encouragement to his fellow students when training to fight magic darker and more complex than they had faced before, and they are the words that David's phenomenal career confirms. Every great wizard in history has started out as nothing more than what we are now, students. If they can do it, why not us? Vice-Chancellor, Pro-Chancellor, Deputy and Pro-Vice-Chancellors, graduands, colleagues and friends, it's my great privilege to present David Yates for the Award of Honorary Doctor of the University.
By the authority vested in me as the Vice-Chancellor of Edge Hill University, I hereby confer the award of Honorary Doctor of the University upon David Yates. Congratulations.
So guys, I just want to say what a privilege it is to share this day with you, because this is your big day. And I love beginnings. I love the first chapter of a book. I love the first chord of a song. I love the first page of a script, because you're never quite sure where it's going to go, but it's always full of promise and possibilities. And as I look at you lot, I can see a lot of promise and a lot of possibilities. And I feel a kindred connection with you, because when I was growing up, just down the road, I wasn't supposed to go to university. No one in my family went to university. I was the very first one who got that ticket, who was lucky enough to do quite well in my A-levels. And surprise, surprise, I ended up at university. And in many ways, that was the point at which, as hopefully you guys will, you realize you can create your own story. You don't have to have a story imposed upon you. And you can create that story for your future starting now, based on all the hard work and all the effort and all the time you spent in the last few years getting to this point. I was told when I was growing up, I couldn't become a film director. I was told at film school that I wouldn't become a film director because I was too nice. When I came out of film school, there was the process of trying to raise money to make projects, and for a number of years I really struggled. It was tough. You know, it was really tough, and those experiences in a way help you build certain muscles. They make you strong if you use them in the right ways as you step out of the doors of Edge Hill and into your life that awaits you. But most of all, I just wanted to say that it's a great privilege to be here with you lot and to share this very special day and to say congratulations to every one of you for getting to this point and achieving what you've achieved. And I wish you all the very best for the years ahead.
Vice-Chancellor, on behalf of Academic Board, I present students from the Faculty of Arts and Sciences who are candidates for awards today. For defending the doctoral thesis entitled Digital Technology and Innovative Poetry, I present Tom Jenks. For defending the thesis entitled The Women's Total Abstinence Union and Periodical Wings, 1892 to 1910, a study of gender and politics, I present Gemma Louise Outen. For the degree of Bachelor of Arts with Honours in Creative Writing, Jack Liam Carter. Sophie Louise Cotterill. Harry Thomas Draper. Lucy Grace Ellis Davies. Callum James France. William Leonard Hewlett. Oliver Mark James. Tamsin Abigail James. Liam Daniel Kelly. Stephen Kenny. Bradley Joseph King Spooner. Rachel Jade McCullough. Kachina McKeefery. Lauren Rosie McKenna. Francesca May McMahon. Daniel Joe McNair. Cecile Beatrice Mayer Schofield. Eleanor Morrissey. Bronte Pleasance. Natasha Courtney Rees. Mark Brendan Roberts. Samantha Jane Wright. Kieran Luke Wyatt. For the degree of Bachelor of Arts with Honours in Creative Writing and Drama, Jessica Natasha Anna Gilbert. For the degree of Bachelor of Arts with Honours in Creative Writing and English Literature, Isabella Castaneda Godoy. Rebecca Elizabeth Cross. Ashley Anita Davies. Eve Harley Gould. Emily Elizabeth James. Benjamin Henry Ledson. Hannah Faye Rees. Matthew Lee Rush. Peter David Turley. For the degree of Bachelor of Arts with Honours in Creative Writing and Film Studies, Cara Sapphire Valerie Jones. Raymond Jackson McCormick. For the degree of Bachelor of Arts with Honours in Creative Writing and Media, Laura Kirsty Henderson. Philip Edmund Pierce. For the degree of Bachelor of Arts with Honours in English, Sophie Boyd. Lydia Maureen Forrester. Jamie Gilmore. Alexander George Griffin. Aidan James Lang. Louise Lowe. Kelly Louise Marks. Katie Louise O'Shaughnessy. Elizabeth Marie Platt. Adam Peter Sinclair. Brianna Elizabeth White. Chloe Louise Wilkinson. For the degree of Bachelor of Arts with Honours in English and Film Studies, Katrina Louise Jones. For the degree of Bachelor of Arts with Honours in English and Media, Lily Bromyard. Charlotte Louise Gulpane. Shane Edward Wilson. For the degree of Bachelor of Arts with Honours in English Language, Emma Louise Beck. Catherine Eleanor Grace Bellis. Emily Elizabeth Boiling. Tyler Paul Philip Bracken. Stephanie Lauren Brennan. Sophie Ann Bretnell. Maisie Elizabeth Britton. Sadie Tyson Douglas. Megan Jane Dunlop. Mairead Siobhan Elwood. Alex Harry Fleckney. Emma Maria Goddard. Sarah Ann Greenough. Molly Joanne Catherine Hagan. Claire Ellen Hadjioanu. Melissa Hollingsworth. Lauren Irene Hutchinson. Jenny Louise Kelly. Christopher Peter Lowe. Megan Rosanna Marsh. Joy Miller. Alexandra Louise Morris. Mark Jan Perry. Krishan Patel. Megan Shan Pusey. Fiona Marie Round. Graziella Schumacher de Silva Hannett. Callum Michael Taylor. Rachel Mia Ward. For the degree of Bachelor of Arts with Honours in English Language with Creative Writing, Shan Marie Southers. For the degree of Bachelor of Arts with Honours in English Language with History, Bethany Rose Jameson. For the degree of Bachelor of Arts with Honours in English Literature, Kieran Stacey Alexander Craig Armstrong. Nadira Banu Banglawala. Molly Marie West Boutel. Sophie Claire Byrne. Rebecca Louise Calvert. Rebecca Megan Dawson. Georgia Dutton. Ellie Louise Emsley. Lauren Findlay. James Allen Goodwin. Farhana Anisha Khan. Jake Matthew Litherland. Chelsea Patricia McGee. Karina Rose McNulty. Megan Amy Victoria Oliver. Lucy Jane Phillips. Katie Emma Rawsthorne. Melanie Helen Senior. Laura Rachel Slater. Jack Smith. Lauren Jane Sweeney. Imogen Thompson. Cara Melissa Wadsworth. Emma Jane Walsh. Bethany Jade Yin. For the degree of Bachelor of Arts with Honours in English Literature and Film Studies, Charlotte Christine Fuchs Bentley. Matthew David Caulfield. Eloise Ann Shiner. For the degree of Bachelor of Arts with Honours in English Literature and History, Lucy Alice Holton. Catherine Angharad Jones. Karen Michelle Lewis Shaw. Catherine Victoria Matthews. For the degree of Bachelor of Arts with Honours in English Literature with Film Studies, Beth Horwood. For the degree of Bachelor of Arts with Honours in English with Creative Writing, Isabel Claire Jones. Lauren Amy Robinson.
For the degree of Bachelor of Arts with Honours in History, Amelia Isabel Abbott. Reese Michael Aberdeen Roberts. Ahmed Haji Osman Adan. Isabel Susanna Vas-Botosh. Catherine Grace Bradley. Lucy Castile. Reese Benjamin Connor. Michael Stephen Cottrell. Casey Lauren Cropper. Georgia May Davenport. Gary Stewart Disley. Matthew Thomas Fleetwood. Olivia Cara Forrest. Harry David Glassbrook Byrne. Lois May Isabella Gordon. Sophie Louise Hodgson. Hannah Mary Jackson. Samantha Joanne Litherland. Benjamin Malone. Kieran Mark James Mills. Jack Philip Morris. Luke John Norcross. Corey Lee Pennington. James Paul Peary. Victoria Louise Poole. Connor John Radcliffe. Beth Riley. Amy Louise Susanna Smith. Connor Edward John Thompson. Daniel Joseph Walker. Jack David Walsh. Ashley June Waters. Michael James Whittle. For the degree of Bachelor of Arts with Honours in History with English, Jessica Lee Richardson. For the degree of Bachelor of Arts with Honours in History with Film Studies, Joshua William Holroyd. Neem Jane O'Boyle. Jack Ventris. For the degree of Bachelor of Arts with Honours in History with Politics, Ben Benjamin Lewis Atwood. Chloe Georgia Bailey. Luke Anthony Daly. Matthew John Denham. Emma Nicole Fox. Zachary Thomas Donaldson Nixon. Vice-Chancellor, that concludes the presentation of students from the Faculty of Arts and Sciences.
Vice-Chancellor, on behalf of Academic Board, I present students from the Faculty of Education who are candidates for awards today. Master of Arts Education, Carla Folder. Joseph Flynn. Codwo Finn. Molly Jane Harron. Rachel Marie Jagger. Lucianne Jones. Natalie K. Aspinall. Rizwana Khan. Hayley Sheila Winifred Lamb. Erin Alexandra Lewis. Laura Moses. Gemma Dawn Nichols. Sophie Alexandra Rose. Gerta Ruja. Philip Snelling. Benjamin Sutcliffe. John Michael Wickham. Victoria Wickington. Nicola Williams. Master of Arts Education Early Years, Rebecca Clare Wingett. Master of Arts Education English, Daisy Nazareth Kay. Master of Arts Education Foreign Languages, Emma Dunphy. Master of Arts Education Inclusion and Special Educational Needs, Carol Ann Ainsley. Master of Arts Education Music, Faye Davis. Master of Arts in Management of International Higher Education, Stuart William Westhead. Master of Arts Specialist Primary Mathematics Practice, Emma Louise Jeevens. Postgraduate Certificate Education, David Curran. Evie Pike. Postgraduate Certificate in Education, Inclusion and Special Educational Needs, Lindsay Anderson. Postgraduate Certificate in Special Educational Needs, Senko Award, Amy Berry. Deborah Ann Chappell. Helen Canane. Rebecca Dennett. Kirsty Francis. Sabrina Gordon. Deborah Caroline Harris. Colette Herity. Anita Here. Victoria Hayes. Andrew Joseph William Holliday. Janet Louise Mercer. Sian Moran. Stacey Nelson. Christine Rimmer. Sarah Elizabeth Roberts. Meg Zanussi. Joanne Savage. Amy Louise Shorrock. Natalie Susan Sinclair. Karen Stewart. Hayley Sweeney. Robert Francis Turner. Postgraduate Certificate in Specific Learning Difficulties, Dyslexia, Barbara Jane Butterfield. Heather Clipston. Karen Coulson. Louise Delibon. Alexandra Fiddler. Laura Flynn. Deborah Ann Green. Judith Deborah Greer. Victoria Frances Locke. Sorry, but there always has to be one mistake. Joanne Laura Heppard Hall. Victoria Frances Locke. Jane Marie Main. Christine Janet Parkinson. Michelle Karen Ross. James Scarretts. Postgraduate Diploma Education, Safwan Ahmed. Vice-Chancellor, that concludes the presentation of students from the Faculty of Education.
You're incredibly supportive and very noisy. But at this moment, other than David, no one has got an additional qualification. Bear with me. Important words. By the authority vested in me as the Vice-Chancellor of Edgehill University, I hereby confer the Edgehill University Awards for which you have been presented, and I congratulate you all. Hats off, wave them in the air.
Ladies and gentlemen, with a song for our graduating class of 2018, will you please welcome Miss Lucy McHale?
My love is like a red, red rose that's newly sprung in June. My love is like a melody so sweetly played in tune, as fair thou art, my bonny lad, so deep in love am I, and I would love thee still, my dear, though the sea's gone dry, though all the sea's gone dry, my dear, and the rocks melt with the sun, I would love thee still, my dear, though the sands of time be run. So fare thee well, my bonny lass, and fare thee well, and I would love thee still, my dear, though it were 10,000 miles, though it were 10,000 miles, my dear, though it were 10,000 miles, I would come to you again, though it were 10,000 miles.
Thank you very much to Lucy. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you've enjoyed the ceremony. Probably in need of some refreshments. These now are available if you go back up to the central campus in the hub. There you'll be able to find adequate refreshments. I wish you a very safe journey home, and I now declare that this congregation is closed.